What's going on, everybody? Good afternoon. Hope your Tuesday continues to go well. And we're going to do something that I haven't really been doing very much this year because we're having a lot of fun in the present, right? These Seattle Seahawks, the 2025 Seattle Seahawks, look really good. They haven't necessarily looked good the entire season, but pretty close. So, with the present being so fun, I think we've all spent a little bit less time thinking about the future, but I don't want to ignore the future completely. So before I push this off any further, I want to go ahead and get a mock draft in. So we'll call this Seattle Seahawks mock draft for 2026 1.0. We'll do more down the line. Again, I think that videos like this are less interesting during a time where your team is actually really good, but I don't want to completely lose my focus on this because you guys know I care about this stuff. Be right back. All right, guys, let's take a minute so I can tell you about Sleeper, a one-stop shop for all your sports needs. You can celebrate and chat on sports games in real time with other users. You can get the fastest scores, blazing fast sports news and sports alerts right at your fingertips. And of course, you can use Sleeper to play in fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. This is the way sports were meant to be enjoyed together. So download Sleeper today. Use promo code SBN to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. And you can pair that with another promo they have right now where you can get a $20 entry free with no deposit required. So get both of those things going. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states and growing. So check out Sleeper today, get to it, and go have some fun with sports this year. All right, so straight up, mock drafts with this Seahawks team right now, they're a little bit tough because the Seahawks don't have a lot of picks, and they're not going to get very many more. In fact, I think it's relatively unlikely we get any more. We know we're not getting any compensatory picks this year. So if you were thinking about that, that's not swooping in to save the day. And beyond that, who would we trade for picks in the offseason? Would we trade like Jalen Milroe? Would we trade Drew Lock? You can't trade Woolen, you can't trade Mafe, you can't trade Walker. Those guys are all going to be free agents after the season. So I don't think we're going to be working with much more than what we got. And I would not at all be surprised if this team either trades down in the draft to pick up a couple more picks, but also maybe trades the few picks they have left to try to acquire veteran players. We know that the Seahawks tried to acquire Max Crosby in a trade at the deadline, and you better believe that trade, whatever it was, involved our first round pick for this upcoming draft. So if the Raiders do end up going like 3-14 or something and they fire their coach and they just decide to restart again, don't be shocked if we call the Raiders up again and this time they're a little more amenable to it, and maybe we can get Crosby in here with a package including the first round pick. So this could be a very, very uneventful draft for the Seahawks. Nevertheless, though, let's work with the picks we have right now, making assumptions that everyone's picks stay where they are. The Seahawks currently pick 29th. So in the first round, let's go with Mateo Ugalele. Ugalele, there have been quite a few players named Ugalele passing through college football in recent years. This is probably the most intriguing one. Edge rusher from Oregon, really good. Brings a lot of things to the table that I think McDonald will appreciate having. And I think that if we don't make the big trade for someone like a Crosby, it is vitally important this Seahawks team brings in a really appealing edge rusher in this draft, probably with their first round pick, because they're going to need to keep that room fresh. Mafe is probably gone in the offseason, and it would not shock me if Nwosu was a cap casualty. So given that, we need to find a way to replenish the room, and it can't just be a body. It has to be a pretty good player. So that's my first round pick, Mateo Ugalele. Be right back. Hey everybody, Seahawks Brendan Nelson here to show you some really cool steel art for the 50th anniversary of the Seahawks and a Mariners medallion too, like the ones pictured above my head. My dad, aka Metal Hawk, has met over 300 Seahawks, dozens of Mariners, and some Sonics in his time, and now he's making unique steel art, special edition, and it can be yours for a donation directly to Fans for Good. Click the Facebook link down below for complete instructions. Back to the video. All right, so we still have our second round pick. I'm going with Keith Abney the second, the cornerback out of Arizona State. He's somebody that's been on my radar pretty much all season. Really like what he's doing over there. He's been, to me, one of the standout corners of the year. Obviously, the guy who's risen the most this year is probably Delane in LSU, but Keith Abney has been really good, been really efficient. And cornerback is another position I think the Seahawks are going to need some assistance in this offseason. They are very likely to lose Woolen because I think he's going to get a lot of money that we're not going to be able to match. And Job is a free agent as well, and he could be gone too. So that leaves you with Witherspoon and not much else. You got Eamon Wari, who looks like he's found his home at slot corner. But then you've got like Nehemiah Pritchett and what else? Is there anything even behind that? Like, I don't think that's tenable. And maybe you bring back Job, but I don't think we can afford to bring back Woolen. So I'm thinking that getting a good corner in this draft is very important, and I think Abney would be very good at 61. My third round pick is going to be a center, and he might not immediately play center for the Seahawks, but this is another Oregon player, so I got 2 Oregon players in my mock draft. I'm not terribly thrilled about that, but it is what it is, and Laululu has been good for Oregon this year. I mean, those Oregon offensive linemen tend to always be good because of the system there, but he's genuinely a good interior player. He has experience snapping, so if we wanted to play center, we can do that, but you might bump him over to right guard for a season. Maybe you put him at center and you bump Sundle over to right guard. There are some options baked in there that you can kind of play with, and I think that he's a pretty good fit for what the Kubiak offense likes. Even if we don't keep Kubiak, that doesn't mean we don't keep the Kubiak offense, by the way. Keep that in mind. We might lose Kubiak and then promote one of his underlings to the OC role, in which case you're largely keeping the same offense. So Laululu, I think, would be a good fit for that. And that's almost all the draft capital we have, guys. That's 95% of what we're going to get out of this draft. That's on screen right now. So you're keeping the line moving in the edge room. You're adding another cornerback, and you're adding an interior offensive lineman. And that's pretty strong. If you can do all those things, you're definitely doing a good job addressing your needs. We do have one more pick, a 6th rounder, and this guy has fallen like a rock this year, mostly because he hasn't been playing that much for Texas, Quintrevion Wisner. The latest in a line of coveted, draftable Texas running backs ever since they've gotten back on track in Texas. It seems like every year there's at least one Texas running back in the draft that people are really excited about. Obviously, Bijan was the big gun there, but there have been other guys since then, guys like Brooks, guys like Bijan's backup even. Shoot, what was his name? It wasn't Roshan Johnson, was it? It might have been Roshan Johnson, but I know Bijan's backup got drafted, and they're good players. Now, Wisner, for some reason, just hasn't done a lot for Texas this year, but this was a guy who was considered a top 100 pick before this season started. So if he truly has fallen to the point where you could get him in the 6th round, which is where the aggregate big board has him right now, that's something I would pursue. I don't think Walker is back next year. I don't. And I don't know if I really want him back. I'm pretty torn on that. I'm generously, I would say I'm ambivalent. But there is a big part of me that says you want to just keep the line moving at the running back spot. You want to keep just bringing in new guys and not give out that big second deal. So if you get Quintrevion Wisner and you can pair him for a year with Charbonnet and Halani, I think you've got a backfield that can get the job done. All right. So I know that felt kind of uneventful because we only have 4 picks, but we only have 4 picks. So that's my first mock of the year. There will be more down the line. Let me know what you guys think. I will see you guys later. Probably no more videos today unless something happens, but we'll see. And should be on Twitch later tonight, one way or the other. And everybody have a great rest of your day. Go Hawks.